happen enough times to predict the timeline. The leadership workshop ends, feedback forms are glowing, and managers leave energized with new frameworks and fresh commitments. For the first week, maybe two, you see glimpses of change. Different language in meetings, attempts at new behaviours, genuine effort to apply what they learned. Then the pressure of quarterly targets hits, a crisis demands attention, and slowly, inevitably, they revert. And within a month, it's as if the workshop never happened. Just cost, no return. This is not a failure of content or facilitation. The workshops themselves are often excellent, led by credible facilitators who know their material. The managers are not lazy or resistant. They're operating in an environment that has not changed to support their new skills. The systems, the processes, and the daily pressures that shaped their old habits remain intact, pulling them back like gravity. Without structural support for application and accountability, even the most motivated managers default to what worked before. The frustration intensifies when you're asked to demonstrate leadership training return on investment. You can point to attendance rates and satisfaction scores, but the business wants sustained behavioural change and measurable impact on team performance. That's where you get real return on investment, instead of the same capability gaps that persisted before keep reoccurring. Promoted technical specialists still struggle in management roles. Communication breakdowns continue, engagement scores plateau or even sometimes decline. And the pattern repeats with different content, different providers, but identical outcomes. 6 months later, stakeholders question why managers are not performing better, forgetting the workshop entirely. You find yourself defending past investments while being asked to source another solution. The cycle continues because everyone treats the symptom, the leadership event trap, rather than examining why isolated interventions cannot create lasting change in complex organisational systems. The issue is not the quality of the training. It is that one-off events cannot compete with the organisational system that managers return to. During a workshop, managers are removed from the environment that reinforced their existing behaviours. They learn new approaches in a controlled setting. Then they return to unchanged deadlines, the same stakeholder expectations, and no infrastructure to support the attempts that they might make at implementing what they've learned. The environment wins every time. Without application support embedded into daily operations, even committed managers struggle to translate workshop concepts into consistent practice. Under pressure, they're definitely going to default to familiar learned patterns because there is no scaffolding to help them apply new frameworks in real time. There's no one present during a difficult conversation, no peer group for troubleshooting, no manager support with implementation challenges. Accountability exists only during the training, not in the weeks and months when capability is built through repetition and feedback. The absence of measurement infrastructure compounds the problem. Most organizations track completion rates and satisfaction scores, which reveal nothing about whether managers can hold effective performance conversations or build psychological safety. It just shows that they attended or read the book. Without baseline assessments and ongoing measurement, you're operating blind. You cannot demonstrate leadership training return on investment because you're not measuring capability, you can't measure without being consistent. This structural reality explains why the leadership event trap persists despite universal frustration with its lack of outcomes. Events are visible, discreet, easy to procure. There's a clear budget and a spend. Systems are harder to design. Yet developing and maintaining leadership capability requires infrastructure, not interventions. It requires application support, embedded accountability, ongoing measurement, and adaptation based on evidence. Until organizations move from event-based thinking to systems-based design, you will continue experiencing that same disappointing cycle. The workshop fee is the visible cost, but the deeper damage is credibility. Each time managers revert after training, trust erodes. Employees see brief sparks of change followed by regression. Leadership development begins to feel performative rather than genuine. And when the next program is announced, cynicism replaces enthusiasm because experience suggests nothing fundamental will shift. Manager underperformance becomes normalized, particularly among technical specialists promoted without these structural support mechanisms. These individuals do want to succeed, but without ongoing application support and accountability, they're left navigating complex interpersonal challenges alone. They default to technical problem solving because it feels safe. The consequences are disengaged teams, higher turnover, and missed targets that far exceed the cost of the training. For HR and L&D teams, the exhaustion is acute. You source providers, manage logistics, defend investments, and attempt to provide and prove impact with inadequate metrics. You know the interventions are not delivering sustained change, but you don't have other options. The inability to demonstrate measurable impact on leadership development initiatives does not just threaten budget, it undermines strategic influence. The shift requires redefining leadership development. Instead of asking what workshop should we run, systems-based design asks what organizational conditions must exist for managers to consistently apply effective leadership practices. Leadership infrastructure includes clarity around expectations, openness about capability gaps, application frameworks integrated into manager workflows, peer learning structures that create accountability, and measurement systems that track behavior change rather than attendance. When these elements all work together, they create an environment where new skills can take root because the organization actively reinforces their use. But it's not quick and it's not easy. It is intentional and it is strategic. This directly addresses the return on investment challenge. When you build systems rather than deliver events, you can measure what matters. Whether managers are having more effective performance conversations, whether team engagement is improving, whether under specific leaders versus others, and whether promoted specialists are successfully transitioning into management roles. Capability development is tracked over time because measurement is embedded, not bolted on. The investment profile shifts accordingly. Instead of repeatedly funding disparate and disconnected events that generate temporary energy, you invest in a system that creates sustainable and scales consistently. The method serves every future cohort. The economics favour systems once the hidden costs of the event cycle are acknowledged. In practice, starting off is the hardest part. Once you begin and build momentum, sustaining it is much easier. Time is used wisely, and content and new tools and frameworks are pulled rather than pushed at people. Application becomes part of the weekly rhythm. Managers participate in peer cohorts where they troubleshoot and contextualize with real situations, share results, and commit to continue learning together. Facilitators guide reflection from the real work context, and learning happens within the workflow because the system is designed to make the application default. And measurement is continuous, tracking behaviour change through 360 feedback, engagement data, and performance indicators over quarters rather than days. Organisations can then see where additional support is required, and you as executives get to see data that links the development budget to retention and performance and engagement. HR demonstrates that accountability extends far beyond workshop attendance. This is not about a better workshop. It's a fundamentally different approach. If this pattern feels familiar, begin with diagnostic clarity. The Inspired Leadership Score app identifies where leadership capability is breaking down and where to focus next. Rather than repeating the event cycle with new content, create a foundation for sustained progress. The assessment takes less than 2 minutes and provides initial insight required to start building capability sustainably. I'm Angela de Longchamps. I'm the founder and the CEO of Inspired Leadership, and I'll see you in the next video.